In this podcast, we're going to assess how crime rates vary in different areas. So, official crime statistics show that crime is not evenly distributed between geographical areas, as it seems to be that crime is higher in urban areas than rural areas, and crime is higher on council estates than suburban cities and towns. So, now we're going to be talking about ecological explanations of crime, and they believe that the ecology of towns and cities is due to crime. So, Shaw and Mackay examined the organisation of Chicago and found that most are arranged into distinct neighbourhoods, each with its own distinctive subcultural values and lifestyles. The zone of transition had cheap rented housing, poverty, high numbers of immigrants, and high crime rates. Relative crime rate in the inner city was very similar over a number of years, demonstrating that high crime rates weren't due to the specific cultural characteristics of immigrant groups. The constant movement of people in and out of those areas produced as a state of social disorganization with little sense of community. As a result, people were unlikely to feel a sense of duty and obligation to one another, and so felt little guilt about committing crimes against their neighbours. Social disorganisation produces subcultures of delinquency, which culturally transmit criminal behaviour from one generation to the next. This cultural transition ensures that young criminals learn criminal skills and traditions from the older generation, and that social disorganisation is reproduced and maintained. So, another ecological theory is by Sutherland, who developed the idea of differential association, which basically means that cultural behaviour is shaped by those around them. So if people live in a socially disorganised urban area, then they frequently associate with people who make their living from crime. So then their choice to pursue a criminal career may not be a difficult option. Also, Marshall et al. Believe that zones of transition make up sink states, and deteriorating inner-city areas can be spotted in UK cities. These areas lack any sense of community spirit or social control, and as a result, people feel free to commit crime at free will. Disorganisation is reinforced by the state's failure to address social problems like unemployment and drug or alcohol abuse. So these ecological theories can be evaluated because Shaw and Mackay's theory don't explain British cities, they just focus on America. All of them also assume that official statistics are correct, but they could just be socially constructed, as Marxists have argued that crime rates could be higher in cities due to military policing like stop and search. Also, most people in urban areas do follow the law, and it's only a very few that actually commit to gang culture, and evidence shows that even if people do join a gang, then they only join for a short period of time. It could also be argued that crime rates are the wrong way round, because ecological theorists argue that social disorganisation leads to crime, but it could be that crime leads to social disorganisation. And finally, high crime rate in the inner city area and urban areas might due to tipping. And this is basically when in an estate, law-abiding people may leave, but poor families move in, and it's not due to their values, but it's due to the council putting all the bad families together. So now we move away from ecological theories and reasons why crime varies in different areas. And Felton of Clark argued that it's just because people in urban areas have more opportunities for crime, because no crime can occur without the physical opportunities to carry it out, and therefore the opportunity should be considered as the root cause. Also, Branningham and Brantingham argue that urban areas have more crime-generating and crime-attracting targets than rural areas, such as warehouses and leisure facilities that attract more offences. Also, Felsen and Clark argue that there's a reduced chance of being caught in urban areas because in large cities life is more impersonal and people are less likely to act as capable guardians, and strangers are likely to go unrecognised and they are more able to get away with offences. However, in rural communities, there is a higher level of natural surveillance as people recognise each other, which can discourage offending because of the higher risk of being caught. Also, left realists argue that crime is higher in urban areas because of social deprivation. So Lee and Young argue that social deprivation and exclusion are the worst in inner cities. People try to achieve success through illegal means and obtain goods that others can achieve by legal means. Winlow believes that there's a nighttime economy, and he studied in Sunderland in an urban environment where there was job opportunities in industry have declined, and the expansion of the service sector, which has provided a combination of legal employment and lucrative criminal opportunities, as well as a means of men expressing their masculinity, and bouncers in pubs and clubs provided the opportunity for illegal business and ventures in drugs, duty-free tobacco and alcohol protection rackets. So Winlow's theory is useful because it demonstrates how the expression of masculinity changes with the move from a modern industrial society to a post-modern deindustrialized one. And overall, the problem with locality is that it's impacted by other factors like class and ethnicity. For example, the black population are more likely to be found in urban areas, so it could be a combination of both. And figures are also socially constructed as it simply reflect different policing styles. For example, more police in urban areas means people are more likely to be caught, and left realists also argued that relative deprivation has nothing to do with it, as people simply choose whether to commit crime or not.